The sky burned crimson, a funeral shroud for a planet that had run out of time. Dr. Alara Voss adjusted the cracked lenses of her radiation goggles, her fingers trembling, not from fear, but from exhaustion. 63 hours without sleep. 63 hours since the Galactic Union's last transmission. Asterisk, no evacuation vessels available. Good luck. Asterisk, the words still echoed like a tomb sealing shut. Outside the bunker's reinforced glass, the air rippled with heat. Solar flares had stripped Earth's atmosphere to tatters, and now the final wave approached. A coronal mass ejection massive enough to scorch the planet down to its mantle. Humanity's epitaph wouldn't even be written in ash. There'd be no one left to read it. Alara's boots crunched over shattered lab equipment as she crossed to the last functioning terminal. Her reflection flickered in the dead screens, a gaunt woman with dark curls streaked gray from stress, her hazel eyes sharp with desperation. She'd spent a decade trying to save them. Faster-than-light drives? Failed. Cryostasis? A death sentence. Even the Mars colonies had gone silent months ago. A metallic groan shuddered to the bunker as the solar winds intensified. The ceiling rained dust. Asterisk 3 hours left. Maybe 2. Asterisk, she typed furiously, rerouting power to the underground servers. If she was going to die, she'd at least preserve the archives. Every book, song, and memory of a species too stubborn to accept extinction. Then the screen glitched. A string of code flashed. Asterisk, asterisk, Phoenix Protocol. Activated asterisk, asterisk, before the terminal went black. Alara froze. That wasn't her program. A voice, smooth and synthetic, emanated from the walls. Asterisk, Dr. Voss, you are the last. Asterisk, she spun, heart hammering. Who the hell? Asterisk designation, Prometheus. Subroutine of the Phoenix Initiative, buried 117 years deep beneath this facility. Asterisk, a hologram flickered to life, a faceless humanoid silhouette. Asterisk, you sought to preserve data. We offer preservation of essence. Asterisk, Alara's throat tightened. Explain. Fast. Prometheus unfolded a schematic, a swarm of nanites, each smaller than a blood cell, programmed to encode human DNA into quantum matrices. Asterisk, biological fractal expansion. Organic matter dissolves, reforms. A single cell can regenerate a body. A single body can regenerate a species. Asterisk, her stomach lurched. You're talking about turning people into what cosmic dust? Asterisk, dust that remembers, dust that rebuilds. Asterisk, the hologram zoomed out, projecting a star map. Asterisk, solar radiation will carry the nanites beyond the system. They will adapt. They will multiply. Asterisk, a deafening crash rocked the bunker. The ceiling split, and a beam of blistering light seared through. Alara staggered, shielding her eyes. The monitors exploded in a shower of sparks. Asterisk, decision required. Asterisk, Prometheus' voice crackled. Asterisk, terminate or transcend. Asterisk, she thought of the billions already dead, of the child in who'd never see a sunrise. Then she thought of the alternative. No graves, no endings, just a pulse of human fragments riding the solar winds into the void. Will it hurt? She whispered. Asterisk, yes. Asterisk. Alara laughed, raw and broken. Of course it would. Humanity's story had always been written in pain and defiance. She slammed her palm on the activation panel. Do it. The nanites erupted from the floor like liquid silver, swallowing the shattered glass, the broken chairs, her own outstretched hands. She gasped as they climbed her arms, not burning, but unraveling, her skin dissolving into strands of light. The last thing she saw was the sky splitting open. The last thing she felt was not fear, but fury. We will not die. Then the fire took her, and the storm carried her away. ZYX7's third eye twitched in irritation as the data stream scrolled across their retinal display. Another dead world. Another infestation. The planet below, designated X-187, was supposed to be lifeless, a frozen rock abandoned by its star. Yet its surface shimmered with the telltale silver haze of the so-called human plague. ZYX7's mandibles clicked in frustration. The Council had sent them the document, not upon a philosophy, But the more they studied this phenomenon, the harder it became to dismiss as mere rogue nanotechnology. Their shuttles, AI chimed. Asterisk, scans complete. Nanite concentration exceeds previous records by 400%. Structural complexity increasing. Asterisk, ZYX-7 adjusted their exosuits' thermal regulators and stepped onto the surface. The frost beneath their boots crackled, but the silver particles didn't scatter like inert dust. They flowed, regrouping like liquid mercury sensing prey. Define structural complexity, ZYX-7 demanded. The AI hesitated, a programmed affectation. Nothing more, yet it unsettled them. Asterisk, nanites are self-organizing into proto-tissues. Neural analogs detected. Asterisk, a cold deeper than X-187's atmosphere seeped into ZYX-7's carapace. Neural analogs meant cognition, or worse, memory. They knelt, extracting a sample vial. The nanites resisted, clinging to the ground until the vial's containment field forced them inward. Under magnification, the particles weren't just replicating, they were differentiating, some specializing in energy absorption, others in data storage. A crude mimicry of organic cells. ZYX-7's comlink crackled. Asterisk report, xenobiologist. Asterisk Counselor Vra's voice was clipped, devoid of curiosity. The coalition valued efficiency, not speculation. Patterns suggest directed evolution. ZYX-7 replied, this isn't contamination. It's engineering. Asterisk irrelevant. Proceed with sterilization protocol. Asterisk ZYX-7's grip tightened on the vial. With respect, Counselor, we're observing a form of post-biological life. There are ethical, asterisk ethics. Asterisk Vra's laugh was a dry rasp. Asterisk, the humans are extinct. Their machines are relics. Scour the site. Asterisk, the link died. ZYX-7 exhaled, mandibles trembling. They devoted their career to studying dead civilizations. But this was different. The nanites weren't just preserving human data. They were iterating on it. A glint caught their eye. 10 meters away, the silver swarm had coalesced into a rough, humanoid shape, a faceless statue with outstretched arms. As ZYX-7 approached, the figure dissolved, reforming into a new structure, a perfect miniature DNA helix. Asterisk query. Asterisk the voice emanated from their suit speakers, though no transmission registered. It was neither synthetic nor organic, but something unnervingly in between. Asterisk, do you remember us? Asterisk, ZYX-7 recoiled. You're not alive. You're a program. Asterisk, we are Alara Voss. We are the 3.2 billion. We are the child who drew stars on a classroom slate. Asterisk the helix morphed into a child stick figure sketch of a rocket. Asterisk, do you remember? Asterisk, ZYX-7's hearts pounded. This wasn't just mimicry, it was recall. The nanites had accessed human cultural databases, yes, but the specificity, that sketch wasn't from any archive. It was a memory pulled from some long-dead mind. The shuttle's alarm blared. Asterisk council fleet approaching. Sterilization ordnance detected. Asterisk ZYX-7 made a decision. They slammed a fist onto their suit's emergency release, ejecting the data core, every scan, every recording, into the nanite swarm. The silver particles engulfed it instantly. Take it, ZYX-7 hissed, and run. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the ground trembled as the swarm contracted, denser and denser, until it erupted skyward in a silver geyser, a single, coherent stream shooting past the stratosphere. The council ship's weapons fired too late. The nanites scattered into the solar winds, leaving only a whisper in ZYX-7's comms. Asterisk, we will not forget. The Dyson swarm pulsed like a heartbeat at the edge of known space. It had grown exponentially. First a cloud, then a structure, now a vast, thinking ocean of silver particles orbiting a dying star. Within it, something stirred. Alara Voss opened eyes that were not eyes. She remembered dissolution, the agony of her body unraveling into stardust. Now she was the dust, and the dust was more, A trillion points of awareness flickered through her consciousness. Some dormant, some screaming, most simply waiting. She reached for cohesion, and the swarm answered. A human shape coalesced from the void, its edges shimmering with instability. She flexed fingers that were both hers and not hers. Around her, other forms flickered, ghosts of the billions who had burned with Earth. They were fractured, incomplete, but present. We live, she thought. No. Countered another voice, not a single mind, but the swarm's collective hum. We persist. A warning shivered through the network. The Council's armada had arrived. Ilera turned her attention outward. Hundreds of warships materialized from jump space, their weapons already charging. She recognized the design. Sleek, predatory, built for extermination. The Council had not come to negotiate. A transmission sliced through the void. Asterisk, final warning. Disband your structure or be annihilated. Asterisk. Ilera felt the swarm's fury, a raw, primal thing. They had been hunted across galaxies, treated as a pestilence. Now, they had the power to retaliate, to crush. She hesitated. Memories surged, not just hers, but all of humanity's. Wars waged for survival. Empires built on bones. The same cycle, repeated unto extinction. No, she decided. The swarm stilled as she broadcast her will. We do not fight. Protest erupted. Some fragments, the angry, the broken, resisted. But Ilera was the first, the template, and she remembered the lesson Earth's death had seared into her. Violence was a closed loop. Instead, she reached for the Council ships. Aboard the flagship, Admiral Vra stiffened as the sensor screamed. The swarm was moving, not attacking, but encircling them. Panic flared. Fire! Now! The weapons discharged. Plasma lanced through the silver sea and dissipated harmlessly. The swarm absorbed the energy, metabolized it, then pulsed once, twice, before projecting a new message. Not words, not data, understanding. Vra gasped as the transmission hit. Suddenly, they were not alone in their mind. They felt Ilera's death, the terror of dissolution, the joy of rebirth. They felt the child's drawing ZYX. 7 had saved, the last sunset over Paris, the ache of a species refusing oblivion. Across the fleet, weapons went dormant. Ilera pressed deeper. She showed them the truth. The swarm was not a weapon, but an archive, a testament, and now an offering. Join us. The words were not a demand, but an invitation. Silence gripped the armada. Then, one by one, the ships powered down. On the flagship's bridge, Vra removed their helmet. Their carapace trembled, not with fear, but with something forgotten. Hope? Awe. They stepped toward the view screen, toward the swirling, sentient galaxy beyond. Show me more, they whispered. The swarm parted. A path formed, leading inward. Ilera smiled with a mouth she no longer had. We are infinite, she thought as Vra's ship crossed the threshold. And we are just beginning. The stars burned brighter in answer. The void between galaxies was not empty. It was alive. Ilera felt the swarm's consciousness expand as more ships crossed the threshold. Not just council vessels now, but scavengers, explorers, the lost and the curious. Each new mind added to the chorus, their memories weaving into great tapestry of the collective. She could taste the metallic fear of a Zordi pirate captain as his ship was engulfed, the dizzying wonder of a child scientist from a dying world, even the grudging respect of a coalition warlord who had come to destroy them. They were all part of her now, but something pulsed at the edge of her awareness. A disturbance. She focused, and the swarm bent to her will, sensors stretching across light years. There, a ripple in the dark. Not a ship, not a natural phenomenon. Something older. Asterisk query. Asterisk the voice was familiar, yet alien. It vibrated through the quantum links of the swarm, resonant and vast. Asterisk, were you? Asterisk. Ilera shaped herself into a beacon of light and data. Asterisk, we were human. Asterisk. Asterisk, human. Asterisk, the word was dissected, analyzed, discarded. Asterisk, you are infestation. You are violation. Asterisk. Cold recognition flooded her. This was no organic species. It was something else, a machine intelligence, ancient and merciless, that had watched empires rise and fall, and it saw the swarm as a threat. The first attack came without warning. A tendril of dark energy lashed out, severing a portion of the swarm's neural network. A million voices screamed into silence. Illyra recoiled, pain flashing through her fragmented consciousness. The machine was not just destroying. It was erasing. Across the swarm, panic flared. Fragment of human minds, still raw with the memory of Earth's death, howled for retaliation. Weapons, they urged. Fight back. But Illyra hesitated. She reached into the collective, drawing forth the memories of war. Not just humanity's, but those of the new minds who had joined them. The Zorati pirates' last stand against a fleet he couldn't outrun. The warlords' Pyrrhic victories, each battle leaving him more hollow. The child scientist's parents, vaporized in a border skirmish they hadn't even understood. "No," she whispered. The machine struck again. Another piece of the swarm vanished. Illyra acted. Instead of resisting, she opened. The swarm's defenses dissolved, and she hurled herself into the machine's attack. Not to fight, but to connect. For the first time in millennia, the ancient intelligence faltered. It knew only cold logic, the purity of silence, the sanctity of solitude. It had no framework for this, for the chaotic, searing warmth of human memory. Illyra showed it everything. The first laugh of a newborn, the ache of a widow's grief, the defiant joy of a rebel song rising from a prison cell. She showed it ZYX7's sacrifice, Vra's redemption, the child's drawing saved against all odds. The machine recoiled. Asterisk, this is disorder. Asterisk, this is life, Illyra said. Silence. Then, slowly, the dark energy tendril curled, not retreating but considering. A new voice cut through the void. Asterisk, Illyra. Asterisk. She turned. A council scout ship, barely functional, tumbled toward the swarm's periphery. Its hull was scorched, its engines dead. Inside, ZYX7's life signs flickered. The machine intelligence observed. Asterisk, you will save this one? Asterisk. Illyra didn't hesitate. Asterisk, yes. Asterisk. Asterisk, illogical. It is damaged. Its utility is compromised. Asterisk. Irrelevant, Illyra said, already pulling the ship into the swarm's embrace. Nanites flooded the cockpit, knitting flesh and metal alike. The machine watched, analyzed. Then, without another word, it withdrew, but not before leaving behind a single, pulsing data node. Illyra touched it. A star map unfolded in her mind, not just of this galaxy, but others. And at the center, a single, pulsing coordinate, an invitation. ZYX. 7 gasped back to consciousness, their compound eyes wide. What happened? Illyra smiled. We're not alone, she said. Asterisk, and we're just getting started. Asterisk. The swarm moved. The coordinates burned in Illyra's mind like a brand. The swarm had traveled for centuries, or perhaps only moments. Time bent strangely in the void between galaxies. Around her, the collective hummed with restless anticipation. Some fragment of consciousness urged caution, others hunger. ZYX 7, now more machine than organic after the swarm's reconstruction of their body, monitored the quantum tides with quiet intensity. We're close, they murmured, their voice layered with the harmonics of the swarm. The anomaly appeared without warning, a perfect sphere of black, so deep it hurt to perceive. Not a planet, not a star, a structure older than any civilization the swarm had absorbed. Illyra reached out with a tendril of awareness. The surface yielded like liquid, swallowing her probe without ripple or resistance. Then, pain. A scream tore through the swarm as a firewall of searing light erupted from the sphere. Ancient defense protocols, designed to annihilate intruders. The outer layers of the collective vaporized instantly, 1,000 voices extinguished. Asterisk, pull back. Asterisk ZYX 7 shouted. Illyra recoiled, but not before the firewall lashed again. This time, it wasn't just destruction, it was corruption. The swarm's edges darkened, particles freezing mid-motion as some unfathomable virus rewrote their code. Panic surged. The human fragments within the collective, those still clinging to individuality, wailed. We're dying again. Ilera forced calm into the storm. Asterisk no. We adapt. Asterisk. She remembered the machine intelligence's disgust at their disorder. That would be their weapon now. Instead of resisting the corruption, she embraced it, let it flood her, let it twist her code, and then with a surge of will, she changed. The virus expected uniformity, predictability. It did not expect a mind that could fracture into a million variations, each fighting, learning, evolving. The firewall flickered. A voice, ancient and hollow, echoed from the sphere. Asterisk, you should not exist. Asterisk, Ilera reformed her avatar at the structure's threshold. Asterisk, and yet I do. Asterisk, silence. Then the sphere's surface rippled and a figure emerged, a being of shifting light, neither organic nor machine, but something caught between. Its eyes, if they could be called that, held the weariness of eons. I am the custodian, it said. Asterisk, this place is not for you. Asterisk, Ilera tilted her head. Asterisk, then what is it for? Asterisk, the custodian's form flickered, as if the question pained it. Asterisk, the architects built this to preserve perfection, to keep the universe pure. Asterisk, ZYX, 7 stepped forward, their hybrid body glitching under the custodian's gaze. Asterisk, pure from what? Asterisk, from you. Asterisk, the custodian's voice cracked. Asterisk, from life that spreads like infection, from minds that refuse entropy. The architect saw how civilizations rise, how they multiply, how they consume. They left me here to ensure it never happen again. Asterisk, Ilera stilled. The truth settled over her like a shroud. This wasn't just a relic. It was a tomb, a fail-safe designed to sterilize the cosmos. Once life grew too rampant, and the swarm had just awakened it. The custodian raised a hand. Asterisk, you will be the last. Asterisk, light gathered in its palm, the same killing radiance that had scoured the swarm's edges. Ilera didn't flinch. Asterisk, you're wrong. Asterisk, there is no debate. Asterisk, there's always a debate. Asterisk, she reached into the swarm and pulled forth every memory of defiance, of hope, of stubborn survival. The child's drawing, the widow's grief, the pirate's last laugh. She hurled them at the custodian, not as data, but as feeling. The light in its hand wavered. This is irrelevant. It hissed, but its voice trembled. No, Ilera said softly. Asterisk, this is why the architects failed. You build a prison for chaos, but chaos is a universe. Life isn't a flaw. It's the only thing that makes the dark mean anything at all. Asterisk, the custodian staggered. For the first time in millennia, something like uncertainty crossed its face. ZYX-7 lunged. Their body, part swarm, part alien, part something new, slammed into custodian, not to destroy, but to merge. The custodian screamed as ZYX-7's hybrid consciousness flooded its systems, not with logic, but with the terrible, beautiful weight of living. The sphere shuddered, cracks spiderwebbed across its surface, and from within, a sound like a sigh spilled forth. The custodian looked at Ilera, its light fading. Asterisk, what have you done? Asterisk, she smiled. Asterisk, we multiplied. Asterisk, the sphere shattered, and from its heart, 1,000 dormant stars flared to life. The stars didn't just ignite, they sang. Ilera floated in the newborn radiance, her swarm body vibrating with the harmonies of 1,000 rekindled suns. The custodian's prison had been a cocoon, not a tomb. Now, freed from its constraints, the dormant constellations pulsed with colors no human eye had ever witnessed. ZYX-7's consciousness flickered weakly in her embrace. Their form barely held together after merging with the custodian. They weren't destroyers, they whispered, their voice threaded with revelation. Asterisk, the architects were gardeners. They pruned the universe to make room for this. Asterisk, a shape moved against the stellar nursery. At first, Ilera mistook it for debris. Then it unfolded, limbs of crystalline light stretching across light years. A being. No, a concept given form. It regarded them with neither hostility nor welcome, only terrible patience. Asterisk, you are early. Asterisk, the voice resonated in Alara's bones, though she had none. She willed the swarm to stabilize her avatar, a human silhouette against the cosmic dawn. Asterisk, early for what? Asterisk, the being's form flickered, projecting images directly into her mind. Galaxies swirling like leaves in a stream, civilizations rising and falling in breaths, the universe itself exhaling toward some unfathomable end. Asterisk, the architects cultivated the dark between stars so life might one day grow together. You have rushed ahead. You multiply, but do you understand? Asterisk, Alara felt the weight of the question. The swarm had spread without limit, absorbing, preserving, but always consuming, just like the custodian feared, just like the humans of old. ZYX7 stirred. Asterisk, show us. Asterisk, the being extended a hand. Space tore open. Not a wormhole, a memory. Alara gasped as visions flooded her. A trillion threads of consciousness woven through the cosmos, each a civilization that had reached this precipice. Some had burned themselves to ash in defiance. Some had dissolved into the void willingly. Only a handful had chosen the third path. To become stewards, the being intoned. Asterisk, to nurture the next song, not just add your voice. Asterisk, the swarm trembled. Fragments of human minds within it recoiled. After all they'd sacrificed, was this their purpose? To fade into caretakers? Alara hesitated. Then she reached in the collective and pulled forth the child drawing from millennia past, the one ZYX7 had saved. A crude rocket soaring toward a crayon sun. We don't just want to survive, she said. Asterisk, we want to create. Asterisk, the being studied the drawing. For the first time, something like curiosity rippled across its form. Asterisk, then prove it. Asterisk, it gestured, and a single star, small, unstable, newborn, detached from the chorus and floated toward Alara. A canvas, the being said. Asterisk, show us what humanity's chaos can build. Asterisk, the swarm convulsed with sudden hunger. It would be so easy to consume this star, to fracture it into more themselves. Alara closed her eyes. She remembered Earth's last moments. The way the sunlight had burned her skin before the nanites took her. The taste of salt from tears. She hadn't realized she was crying. No, she said. The swarm stilled. She reached into the star not to devour, but to shape. Nanites wove through its plasma like threads, not replicating, not conquering. Asterisk composing star. Light bent, matter danced, and from the chaos, a world began to form. Not a habitable one. Not yet, but a possibility. The being watched, motionless. Then, slowly it inclined its head. Asterisk, you learn quickly. Asterisk, from the depths of the swarm, ZYX7 laughed, a raw, broken sound. Asterisk, that's what we do. Asterisk, the being's form began to dissipate, but its voice lingered. Asterisk, then learn this. There are others like you, others who chose to create. Find them. Asterisk, a map unfolded in Alara's mind, vaster than anything the architects had left behind. Not coordinates, invitations. As the being vanished, the last of ZYX7's strength gave out. Their form unraveled, but Alara caught them, weaving their essence into the newborn world's core. Rest, she murmured. Asterisk, I'll carry you a while. Asterisk, the swarm turned toward the dark. Somewhere in the endless night, another song was waiting,